to another installment at Reindel's Computer Service. So basically, what I found with this Toshiba laptop is this drive here is faulty. I didn't realize that when I got the laptop on trade. I didn't actually technically pay anything for the trade. But so next thing I gotta do is I got a secondary drive here. I pulled out a Dell Inspiron. I'm gonna use this. Took the faceplate off of here. Originally was, well, actually I think, where the heck did that go? Yeah, that's how. Originally came like this, popped right off. So I was on my way to, and there was basically two different brackets. The Dell case, and this is the bracket that Toshiba uses with their laptops. So got into that and all that, and it's all fine and good. But came on to one problem. I either got to come up with two SATA cables, which I do have some SATA cables floating around. But then I'd have to come up with a power adapter coming off to put into the computer so I could power it up and open it in this space to take the plate off, or run home and get myself a paper clip because I thought I had some paper clips here, but apparently I don't. So I'll do that later, but put this off to the side for now. Actually, the main reason I wanted to make a live stream was we wanted to kind of cover the topic of web browsers, because somebody stopped in here today. They wanted to know about web browsers, and so basically everybody knows about Internet Explorer, Microsoft Edge, Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox. Those seem pretty common. And then occasionally you hear people talk about Opera or Opera web browser. That's all fine and good. But honestly, I personally would recommend definitely discontinuing use of Internet Explorer. A lot of stuff doesn't even work with Explorer that well anymore. And even though Microsoft Edge is new and exciting, confabuled with 10 in every update, I don't recommend using that either. One, when you go on Amazon or YouTube or like Wayfair, whatever site, you ever notice that you get annoying ads that show up on in the corner of your web pages when you're going page to page and stuff like that? That can be a real nuisance. Not only does it do that, but a lot of times your ISP, which is short for Internet Service Provider, or third-party companies like Amazon or Google, they also take your browsing history and they can use that against you. Especially your ISP, they could sell you out, and they make money. They make quite a bit of money off of you for doing that. And then a lot of times with even YouTube, when you watch commercials and that, a lot of those people, if they're like on ad revenue, they make money off of you watching. I think it's like maybe 10 cents out of the dollar that they get per video, per view, if that even. Just to put it this way, YouTube, for some people, I don't know how they're pulling it off where they're making that kind of money off of it. But 90% of people that are on YouTube cannot sustain enough subscribers or even enough views. They obviously have to know somebody on the inside to be making that kind of money. But for most people that make YouTube videos and trying to get in on it and making money, there's not really a lot of money to be made, especially for somebody that's only got less than like a thousands of subscribers. And in today's day and age, as most say, YouTube is pretty much a dying platform. And you're thinking, well, why are you still on there yet if it's dying? If I can find another platform to make videos on that has such a high population of users that use it, then most likely I would jump over to that in a heartbeat. Or you could make a few bucks on the side doing that. Because basically, when I'm on YouTube making content, and it's not easy to come up with videos. It does take a lot of planning. It does take a lot of preparation when you're making these videos. And even for what I'm doing, I'm still very new to this. I think about 2 years ago I started. And I know I don't make a upload as much as I've promised or would like to. It takes a lot of time to get on there and even to make a decent editing standpoint. Because a lot of the videos I make sometimes are like 2-3 hours long, but I trim them down to like 45 minutes, sometimes to an hour, sometimes even shorter. But eventually, the longer I'm doing this, the better I'll get at it. Make more money, I can upgrade my equipment to better quality video filming equipment, get a better editing computer instead of running a Windows or a 10-year-old computer with only 8 gigs of RAM, a 1 gig graphics card. And eventually it will come. And actually, necessarily, I don't really need to upgrade. As long as I don't do videos in 1080 pixel, and I only do them in 720 or below, it works fine. It only takes about 4 days to completely render the 45-minute video. So I can't complain. If it took a month, yeah, then I'd be a little annoyed, but well, but we're going to get back to the topic of web browsing now. So basically, when it comes to, and even Google Chrome, you can get ad blocker, and then there's some off the wall versions of ad block. But the $1 million question is, sure, it blocks YouTube ads, and it does potentially block most ads on websites. But the thing it doesn't do very well is when it comes time to, like, if you're on like the Washington Post web page or Herald Times or any major newspaper or organization, you can't get into their site because you got your ad blocker on, and they whine and complain because they don't make any money off of you viewing their sites because of the ads. And I understand the newspaper doesn't make that much money because everybody reads their news online and that kind of thing. But the thing is, they're basically bombarding you with ads and shoving stuff down your throat, and it's kind of something that you don't really want to put up with, and you shouldn't have to. You should fight for what's yours and that sort of thing. I don't really have a lot to say on it, but a lot of times you gotta, if you don't defend what's yours, it's bad enough that the NSA and the CIA spy on your every move, track down all your phone calls, all your emails, all your web browsing history, photographs that you store on your computer, video files that you store on there, everything you upload to YouTube, everything you do on YouTube, basically almost every aspect of your life that revolves around technology. But that's unfortunately there's not a lot you can do about that either. But you can upgrade to the browser called Tor. And you're wondering what Tor is. Tor is a browser that instead of just cutting straight to the chase and going from server A to server B, typically with Tor it would mingle through random servers. I'm not an expert at Tor. If you want to learn more about Tor, just go on a search engine of DuckDuckGo. If you're smart enough to have it, and go ahead and put in Tor and then read about all the information. I did last night when I had some spare time, and it was actually really cool what you could do with the Tor browser. You can stay in the clear water, as I call it, and just browse your typical Amazon, eBay, Pinterest, or Facebook, or whatever it is that you do, or cars.com, or carsforsale.com. But the thing with Tor is you can also get onto the dark web, and from what they were saying in the article, it's not as bad as your newscasters want you to think. Sure, there is some sketchy stuff on the dark web, in the deep dark web, but a lot of it's all political stuff, and like whistleblowers use it. There's stuff about politicians, but actually with Tor browser, there's a few applications that you have to enable within the browser to be able to make it all possible. But it's just from using it for the last 4 or 5 days, I'm liking it more and more. And all you have to do is pay and subscribe to the NordVPN. And no, Nord is not sponsoring me in any way. It's just, it works. It gets the job done. And it keeps you a lot safer online because it doesn't give out your IP addresses. There's a lot of other free VPN stuff out there, but I would have to say NordVPN is the way to go. I've only been using that for a short while. Since the finances are a little bit better for Christmas sales and pre-after sales, or New Year's sales, rather, I was able to fork out for some software to go along with the Tor browser. And one nice thing is you can do your charge cards online and have peace of mind. You can do just about anything you want, peace of mind. The only thing that you should not do online is any illegal paraphernalia. And due to YouTube's new recent policies, you can't even say what they are because YouTube mafia will shut me down. So we don't want that. So I'm not going to get into. Most of you out there obviously know what it is. So end of discussion on that point of it. And we will move on to another very interesting browser that came out within the last 4 years. And I recently brought light to the subject. There's also another browser called Brave. That it's kind of like a clone of Mozilla, except it's another open source web browser, and that web browser also has an built-in ad block. Also has privacy blocking technology, and you can also earn bitcoins off of this browser. And no, I don't understand enough about it to even get into full detail about it. So that's another good thing if you really want to know more about the subject. But as far as using it as a basic web browser, it really works well. What's cool about this compared to a lot of other browsers, you can import your favorites, any content from any browser. But definitely use the Tor browser and definitely stick with Brave. Don't waste your time with Google Chrome, Firefox, or Mozilla. But between Brave and Tor, and don't even waste your time with Internet Explorer. Some of you probably still obviously like it for odd reasons. And same with Google Chrome. But the other thing with Chrome is not only is it does work well. Don't get me wrong there. It a lot of stuff works very well with it. But the thing you have to remember is Chrome is also very hard on your hardware inside the computer. A lot of times if you only have like a 4 gig configuration or 2 gig configuration, when you had Chrome running, it slowed the machine down so much because there's like over 16, 17 different processes running all at once. And sometimes even more. And a lot of times it would be running at such a capacity where if you had like more than 2 pages open, if you had your CPU meter up, sometimes it would be running around 89%, 90. For years, I still have that laptop yet. It's an HP Compact 6910P with a Intel dual core processor that only had 2 gigs of RAM, and I had Chrome on there. And if I had more than 1 page open, the computer gets so hot that you'd have to stick a cooling pad underneath and raise it up just so it didn't get so hot that it would shut itself off. So that's what I ended up doing, and now I have a decent laptop compared to what I used to have. Most people don't really realize when they're buying computers that they think when they're just going to do web browsing that's like, oh, I don't need that good of a computer for that. But it's not like it was back in the early 90s and in 2000s where you could browse the internet without having much RAM or. Well, with Chrome, and even if you watch YouTube videos, a lot of times, if you're watching videos like in 1080 pixel in like 4K resolution or 2100 by 1440, or anything even beyond that, your computer likes so much watching videos without a decent graphics card. You almost got to at least have a 2 gig graphics card in there to be able to even make the videos even to play decently. But on top of that, it's with Chrome, the way they have that set up, you gotta, if you're gonna use Chrome, you at least have to have 8 gigs of RAM to make the browser run decently when you're multitasking with multiple pages open. So let's say that you got your email on one tab, you got YouTube on another tab, or you're even, well, how do you put that? Most typical people, when they're working on multiple projects online, like let's say you got Office 365 open, well, this person's going to get, we're going to close this person down here. Basically, what's going to happen with when you're using web browsers, you always got to be careful what sites you're going on as well, because not only can you infect your computer, but a lot of times you can also infect the browser with like extensions or other gadgets and stuff that you can get in the Chrome store. Now, when it comes to like the gadgets and stuff, you always want to make sure you get it officially through the Google Chrome store. But if you're gonna go to unofficial source, just be very careful where you get it. And even when it comes to software, when you're doing it, running it through the browser, like if you're running Google Suites or Google Docs, depending on what your organization or what you paid for, or if you're using a non-paid version of Docs, and even with if you're using Gmail, and that also takes memory up on the browser. And because even like if you're using dedicated graphics, what you have to realize is you want to make sure that your computer has a certain amount allotted so that your onboard graphics can handle as much processing power as you need for some of the things that you're doing. But most run-of-the-mill people, when they're online, they only have like maybe one or two tabs open at max. But in a few cases, if you're like a tech junkie, you might have like maybe 10, 11, 12 pages open. So that's where you would need to have the multiple RAM. And typically, most people nowadays, when they even buy computers, a lot of them buy i5s and i7s. Some people buy AMD processors like the A12s or Verism Core 7. Those are actually some decent computers if you go with. Now, there's certain things that Intel is really good for, and then there's certain things that AMD really has a. Well, this person in the chat here that are going to actually have to eliminate this person here. So, well, on that note, we will continue with this topic of web browsers at a later time, because I'm going to have to head off to my second shift job, and that will be about it for now.